Abuse victim bravely shares photos after campaign of violence from ex. He was the father of her children and should have been the person she could turn to for support. But Daniel McLean chose to torture Jade Brett-Moore mentally and physically instead. He left her covered in bruises all over her body, manipulating her with threats of further violence to keep her under his control over a period of several years. Now he has been jailed. 23-year-old Jade has bravely shared photos of the injuries he left her with as she described how everything she did was monitored and checked up on. He wouldn't let me shower on my own or go to the toilet on my own, in case I was sneaking someone else in, she said. I wasn't allowed out anywhere, and I couldn't wear makeup or nice clothes because I was a slag. Jade, a mom of 3, shared photos in the hope it would encourage other people suffering domestic violence to come forward about their abuse. Her whole body was subjected to assaults, with McLean even using a deliberately sharpened end of a metal broomstick to cut at her legs. Jade described how he put me through 5 years, on and off, of hell despite knowing she had been abused by a former partner. I was his victim of abuse and torture. Not only did I suffer from months of soft tissue damage, fractured ribs, mental torture for things that happened to me which were not my fault, I was slashed and whipped continuously, suffered cuts from numerous different objects to my temple, head and body, covered all my legs in black bruising, from top to bottom. I couldn't eat, I was losing weight rapidly and he knew I had an eating disorder. He absolutely destroyed my home. I had phones, TVs, every door, windows, cut all my clothes up, my children's memories destroyed, their belongings and things that meant everything to me. He kept me from friends and family, and refused help himself when I tried to get him to the doctor. Last week, McLean, of Arbor Street, Southport, was jailed for 4 years after admitting to charges of assault and the breach of a restraining order, which was reimposed at 10 years. A judge described him as a danger to the public and described much of the evidence as harrowing and examples of his obsessive and manipulative behavior. McLean once told his partner, "I'm going to rape you and throw you in the lake." The brute also threatened to have Miss Brett-Moore gang raped and once used shards from a mirror he had smashed to cut her. Jade added, "He called me anorexic, then said I was fat, always brought me down on how I looked, and that I was unattractive, which made me feel so insecure, told me no one would ever want me. He also harmed an unborn child by repeatedly punching me to the stomach, where I couldn't move for weeks, made me miss pregnancy appointments, as he was scared they would notice my body full of injuries. He would beat me to a pulp where after a few days he would say, 'I'll give you a break now.'" In court, McLean's barrister said his client would like to apologize, adding, "I've never felt so disgusted in myself. I should have supported and looked after her." British couple who retired to Jamaica found murdered in their home. Jeremy Hunt brands Brexit threats by businesses completely inappropriate. Thieves stole a grandfather's ashes from the boot of his daughter's car. Miss Brett-Moore added, "I was covered in blood and could barely walk after being slashed on my legs and other parts, and was whipped with a metal pole. He made threats of acid and to ruin my face. He made me so ill in myself that at times where I couldn't take life no more, I just didn't want to be here no longer." McLean was jailed for 4 years at Liverpool Crown Court. If you are experiencing domestic violence, you are not alone. Refuge can support you. Please visit www.refuge.org.uk. More, British couple who retired to Jamaica found murdered in their home. More, thieves stole a grandfather's ashes from the boot of his daughter's car.